All right, guys, today we're going into something that's kind of getting me nervous and kind of getting me scared, but excited at the same time, because this is when we start to prep and things start to flow. Recession. Today's inspiration is actually from a friend of mine, a neighbor, who actually just lost his job. He got laid off with 8 other people from working from the Ford dealership. He's also told to me that from him that the parts place that actually delivers parts to the Ford manufacturer has also laid off a bunch of people. There's a lot of talk about a recession coming, and I don't know if you guys are ready, but a lot of people I see, when I think back, way back in the past, and I think to the present right now, there's a lot of people don't know how to do the simple things of budgeting, and I understand it's very fucking difficult and it's annoying and irritating, but I'm here today to help you guys to smooth that out and make that transition and make the process of it easiest as possible. One thing I want to tell you guys is at some point in your life, as much as you love it or hate it, you're going to have to realize that this is the cause of your imprisonment, of you not getting to your goals, is actually by not budgeting, not knowing the numbers. And the sooner we make this transition, the sooner we make this acknowledgement and not overlook this simple thing that is so powerful, the better, I promise you, your life will get. Let's jump in. Hey, welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babishoff, and you're wondering what the show is about. It's 100% devoted to creating a lifestyle design that benefits both the people and the planet. It's about exploring alternatives to the daily grind through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw. All right, guys, let's get it simplified today. Let's jump into it. I first off want to say I've done a podcast on this already, kind of touching on it, but today the gloves are coming off and we're going to get deep. I want to get you guys on the track, and we need to get it down. We need to get it down now. So simplifying where your money's going. I think we all understand that it's very important to know where that money's going. It's very simple to know what's coming in, but to find out what's going out can be it could be a pain in the fucking ass. So how do we do this? And I've said this before, was on Apple's numbers or Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. For those of you who don't know, it's an app that you can get on your phone, and this is what's going to this is going to change your life. I guarantee you it's going to improve quality of life for you and your family and time on every aspect. You need to get the app. Pick which one you want. I believe if you have Apple's numbers, you have to have the iOS and iPhone, and if you want, and you could have Excel as well. But I'm not sure if you can get it on Android, the Apple's numbers, but Microsoft and Excel, they're both basically the same thing. I think somebody ripped somebody off. I don't know, or they're working in conjunction, but it doesn't matter. They both do the same job, equally as efficient in my opinion. So how does this simplify your life? So let's get down to what first. What is, we need to figure out what we're actually needing to put on this list to get organized, and it's everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. This should happen regardless whether there's a recession coming. If you want to retire, if you were goal planning or anything, you got to realize that this is the imprisonment that you're in by not knowing this. This is what's holding you back. There are such things as we're going to go over lightly, such as ghost expenses, and I think a lot of you haven't thought of. What do I mean by that? There's such things as the wheels on your car, your tires. If not properly rotated, they're going to wear out. You need to get on a schedule, which will be a future show, on for your home, whether you rent or own, your vehicles, all of your stuff, how to maintain them. But I want to talk about the ghost expenses here today. So if you're a renter, you still have things, as I mentioned, your car. You have ghost expenses such as things as your pet. You never know when your pet's going to need medical attention unless you got some insurance, and even then you still got to pay for extra medicines and things like that. So we need to try to single these things out and find out what they are and how to incorporate them and how to get a handle on them. That's a whole podcast in itself. I just kind of want to get you guys hooked in here. And if you're a homeowner, you have such things as your roof. You have such things as the exterior paint on your house. You have electrical and plumbing. You have many, many things that are costing you money in the future. They may not be costing you now, but they need to be taken in account for if we're going to figure out how we're going to get from where we don't want to be to where we do want to go. And we need to know all of the traps that are lay in between. Let's zero it down and narrow it down right now into what I'm going to call fixed and variable expenses. And this is how we're going to list. We're going to get your spreadsheet, we're going to call it. And when I say spreadsheet, from here on in, I'm referring to Apple's numbers or Microsoft Excel. So on your spreadsheet, the very first thing we're going to want to put in is your fixed expenses, because this makes it the easiest. So what a spreadsheet looks like is multiple cells. Squares, if you will. Okay, there's squares that go from top to bottom. There's squares that go from left to right, right to left. It's just one big giant page of squares, of cells. Okay, so within each cell, we're going to put a label. And we need to position these labels and these numbers in a certain area. So on the far left-hand corner, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to the very top corner and we're going to write fixed. And that's going to stand for fixed expenses. What you're going to do is you're going to click down on the cell or the box below that, and we're going to put in such as things as rent. That's a fixed expense, or a mortgage. Say you make even numbers, it's $2,000 or $1,000 for rent. So you're going to label on the very first cell from top to bottom. This is all going to be the names of the expenses. We're going to put in maybe like storage unit if you have one. We're going to put cell phone bills. We're going to put internet bills, website bills, anything that you can, a mailbox if you have one, any expenses. And by the way, we're separating this from business, okay? You want your personal always separated. With everything, always separate the two. So this is a personal one here. So everything that goes on that list is named from top to bottom on the left-hand side. Now, adjacent to each one of those as rent, you're going to go and you're going to enter the number in the box directly across to the right of, say, rent, and you're going to put in whatever it is that costs, or your mortgage. And you're going to list these all the way from top to bottom, all of these numbers. And here's the beauty. Here's how I'm making your life easier, you guys. You're going to highlight all of those numbers, not the definition of the cost, not the name of the cost, but only the numbers. And you're going to go from top to bottom. You're going to highlight all those little boxes. And the beauty about what these spreadsheets do for you, it's called auto sum. And this auto sum, as you connect all of those cells together, you're going to leave one cell. We're going to call this spot number 20 for the show. I know some of you may have more, but we're just trying to make things simple for demonstration and to and definition purposes here, especially for just audio. From 1 to 19 are all lit up. You push the auto sum button, and that adds everything all up immediately down on line 20. Okay, so we have reflecting back, we have on the left hand side, we have all the names of the expenses, and on the right next column number 2, we have all of the actual numbers, and those are all added up at the far bottom on line 20. So now we have all our fixed done. Okay, I ask me, guys, if you want, leave in the comment me, PM me, message me. And if I get enough comments, I'll go to the work and I'll actually make a template of what I have as far as ghost expenses, fixed expenses, and variables, and give you guys an idea. Everybody's lives are different. I'm only trying to give you guys a template that you can work off of to help you out. I don't know what your situation is, but learn from what I have to teach you today and just take it in your own hands and make it work the way you think it could work for you. Now we're going into variables. So I'm going to do this from left to right on the very, very top, cell number 1, where we put fixed, right? Right next to fixed, we have our numbers, and the cell number 2, we have those numbers. We're going to leave that one alone. On cell 3, we're going to do such things as our variables, such as groceries. And on groceries, I want to make life easier for you guys. You don't need to write down exactly what you bought, carrots, potatoes, whatever. As long as it's groceries, milk, whatever, it all goes right under the name groceries. So column 3 is named groceries, and every time you go to the grocery store, you're going to punch in your full amount on this thing. And the beauty of this is all you have to do is do this once. You make yourself a template, and you can do this every month, every day. It auto sums everything for you, and this is the greatest tool, you guys, that's going to help you guys get ahead and get out of the mess that you're in. But I want to give you guys a tip, such as things as you might want to throw in like dog food and a 6-pack of beer. In my opinion, these things should be separated, because the end game here, the goal is that we want to know where the hell all of our money went and where it's going and what we can cut off and what we can't. So I highly recommend to you guys that in the variables to try to part everything out and singularize them out, such as dog food goes under pets. That would be the next expense. That'd be on column 4, let's say. And this is an area that's not similar to groceries, because with a pet comes very many expenses. In my experience, I've had to buy medications. We've had to do doctor visits. I got food, flea shampoo, everything. As I said, every single thing needs to be in here, and we kind of need to know what they are. So this would be a separate from groceries model. We would have pet in, say, column 4. And everything below pet is where we would name medications, food, doctor's visits, whatever have you. And then we're going to leave the cell open next to it. We're going to leave that cell open. So that would be line 4 would say pet, and it would have the description of what the expense is. The whole other next column, column 5, would actually have the amount, the number in it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to auto sum we're going to highlight, as I said, with all other ones, groceries and fixed expenses, we're going to highlight those down. We're going to have auto sum all the way down to the very bottom line, which is number 20. Again, doesn't have to be 20. I'm just making even numbers here. We're going to go down to that last cell, and we're going to leave number 20 open. We're going to push auto sum this up for me, and it's going to go, and it's going to just light up. It's going to add everything up in that bottom in column 20. So you see where I'm going with this. Entertainment. Sometimes I go to movies. Sometimes I go to sushi if I do. And these are areas that you want to kind of see where all your entertainment money is going towards. Eating out, going to movies, going on a Sunday road trip or something, food, whatever it is. Always keep it separate. Itemize it out so that you know what you can feel comfortable with as far as taking out and subtracting and adding. So this is very important because we're going to go into detail about that. Is you kind of need to know what your comfort zone is, and you won't know how to design your life if you don't know which things to get rid of. You need to know what things are really costing you a lot of money. So we're singularizing each item here. And trust me, I know a lot of people are probably scared of Microsoft and Apple's numbers, but I'm here to tell you, you don't have to learn any programming. It's the most simplest fucking thing. I'm a roofer. If a roofer could do it, you guys can do it. So yeah, I think we have a lot of different things like miscellaneous. I always keep a cell open. And again, I leave 2 columns for things such as this so that I can, one, under the cell, say I'm going to make up a number here, guys. Cell 10 says miscellaneous. I'm going to leave everything underneath for the name of the definition of what that expense was. Say, I don't know, I bought some light bulbs. And then I put down on the right, leave that column open for the expenses. And that way, when you really want to get hardcore, and we're going to get into that, you can average everything out for like a year, okay? You can look at January through December, and you can look at all these variables, how they go up and down, and then we can kind of get a handle on these things to go, well, I don't know what I'm spending on light bulbs. I don't know what I'm spending on toilet paper. I don't know what the medications are for my dog, but through the year, you can kind of, after months of this, of itemizing and singularizing these things out, you kind of get an area where you're like, oh, okay, point being is that, say, January, you didn't buy any medications for your dog, but on February, you spent $300 on medications for your dog and yourself, So then you can kind of see, maybe in May you had to buy some more medications and then it cost you maybe $150. So these are things that I want to kind of plateau for you guys that are very difficult to get a grip on. But as we see it go through the year, we actually can average this thing out. And I'm calling this the MPG model, okay? This is for those of you guys who don't know how to find out what the true miles per gallon you're getting on your vehicle. There is a way to do this. And this reflects into our actual money in our life as well, just like a gas tank. We never know what we're doing. Like, for instance, using the philosophy of the MPG model, is that life, just like driving a car, you're not heading straight to work at 55, 65 miles per hour, which is optimal for miles per gallon MPG in your car, right? Sometimes you hit traffic. Braking and gassing takes more energy, more gas out of your car, and you've got street lights and things of that nature, so we never know how things are going. So it's very important to find out what the MPG of your car is. And the way to do this, if you're interested, I'll just finish it, is to go reset your mileageometer, whatever that fucking thing is called. I can't think of the word right now. I hate when that happens. Your mileage on your car, you're going to push that button, you're going to reset it to 0. You're going to fill up your gas tank and you're going to go drive around until that gas tank gets empty. Then you're going to come back and you're going to fill up your vehicle again, and then you're going to divide the amount of miles to the amount of gallons that you got, right? The amount of miles the amount of gallons you needed to fill up your vehicle again. And you're going to take those two and then you're going to kind of average it. And the word is that you want to do this like 3 to 4 times because, again, it varies. You were driving in the mountains one day and then you were driving flat in the desert, but you were bucking the wind. So you see where I'm going. After about 3-4 times, you can say, well, the best mileage that my vehicle got was, say, 18 miles per gallon. The worst mileage average I got was around 11 miles per gallon. But if I average everything out, it ends up being 15 miles per gallon is the average. So that's what I want you guys to try to get here as far as your average of knowing what your expenditures are. And this is very, very important, especially if you're looking to plan on retiring or paying off debt. You can't just assume that everything's going to stay the same. And this is the best way. Is this the number one cure-all for financials? No, it's not, because there are many things, as the reason why I'm making the show, for recession could hit, and that changes everything. But it gives you a perspective, it gives you a vantage point They say in combat, if somebody was up on a hill, they have the advantage point of the enemy because they got full sight of it. And that's what we're doing here with finances. We're getting that bird's eye view, seeing the macro, and that's the only way we're going to get control over it. Now it's up to you what you decide to do, how you're going to reinvent or model your lifestyle, and see if you can make it happen for yourself. So what I like about this too is this vantage point is that it gives you an idea of what the large expenses are. So if you had to pay off debt and things like that, you can kind of see like, well, I'm spending $600 a month on food and I'm spending $500 in credit cards. You can kind of look at all your big expenses and you can kind of see what needs attention. In my experience, it's been a mortgage or rent is your highest cost of living. And this is where what I'm telling you guys is this is where it can help your life. This is where you can look like if you're living in Sunnyside, California, and you're spending, $22,000, $3,000 a month on a mortgage or rent, when you can go to like say Austin, Texas or something and get the same house, if not bigger, for half that price. And you're able to have the same job and you can look at quality of life. This kind of, which we're going to go in detail, kind of gives you almost like a crystal ball. You can tell your future. You can mold your future through mathematics. So yeah, a lot of those big expenses, I think that you can change your future with, but the ones that are eating you, like your car payments and things like that, you can look at in a time of recession and go, well, maybe I should just dump this off and I'm able to get a cheaper car. And now that takes the number down. And the beauty about this auto sum is that you can at any time add something or take it away. All right. And I didn't really finish up on this, on the columns. So let's finish on that. Is that I just taught you guys how to add everything from the top to the bottom, right? So we have all of the auto sums on that line 20. The beauty about this is that we're going to take line 20 and we're going to auto sum it not up and down. We're going to take it parallel. We're going to take it from left all the way to the right to where the last cell is. We're going to auto sum that. What that's going to do is take all those feeds, all the fixed, all the groceries, the miscellaneous, the entertainment, all of those things that were heading straight down, it's going to line those up and add them at a grand total sum over to the right. Now this gives you the ability to streamline your life, and this is what's going to make your life a lot easier. So meaning when you go to the grocery store, you're having to wait in line most of the time anyway. Again, especially if you live in Sunnyside, California, you just open up the app. You have the app ready and you hit the column, you touch the button. I'm explaining to you guys how easy this is. You just touch the cell right under groceries, right under the number where that's empty, right at the bottom of the list. It'll sit there flashing, ready for you to enter a number in. You just hit another button, which will bring up the numbers on your phone, and then you just wait for that cash register person to ring you all up. When you get that total, before you even pay them, just enter in that total, and that's it, and then close the app. It just added everything up once you do all the hard work. And you do this every single time, and it auto sums everything all up. Again, if you guys want to have a list, I need you guys to message me, let me know, and I'll start putting some elbow grease into giving you guys a template of what I use and how I do it. So I hope that this shows you guys how you can actually plan your future and how you can budget. I spoke in the other podcast about running your life like a business. We're going to go in real detail in here. If you guys want to hear, leave me comments. But this is the way that you're going to get your life in order here. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to live with a lot less stress. I like to eliminate stress if I can, but do you understand that this is like a blueprint to bettering your life? This is the way that you can get things organized. In addition, I know that sometimes I forget. And it's very important. Here's a tip that I want to give you guys. Sometimes I forget to bring out my phone and add up the groceries. The kids are running around or something's going crazy. So one tip I'm going to give you guys is to always get a receipt, okay? Take that receipt for the day and put it in your back pocket and make sure when you do have the time to remember. I do this as soon as I get home and I put the groceries down. I put them all away. I sit down and I write down, if not the very first thing before I do groceries. That way I make sure I don't forget. It's easy to stick a receipt and forget about it. Tip number 2 I want to tell you guys is sometimes we have a tendency to add things in with our groceries. As I said earlier in the show, just add everything together, and it's going to piss some people off if you separate them in the aisle, or at the cash register. But it does make things easy. So say you have a 6-pack of beer and you also have dog food. Just have the person ring you up for each individual one, pay for it, And that way your receipts are all separated if you want to go the receipt route. Tip number 3 is there's the whole thing, carry cash in your pocket so that you're not a big baby and you don't spend all your fucking money. When that's gone, that's gone. You don't have any groceries. I say you can lose that money, even putting it in your purse, an envelope. Somebody may rob you. It's human up, adult up here, and use the Excel spreadsheet. Every time at the end of the month or getting close to the month, you want to keep an eye on this weekly, and you want to see where your budget's going. If you're starting to rise up now, again, as the macro, you can see that you need to cut down on sushi and movies because you will not have grocery money. If you want to get ahead, you're going to have to take the reins and take control of your life, and this is how you're going to do it. Okay, so tip number 4 is, if let's say you plan on retiring one day, okay, and why not take all the information I shared with you guys here today and do a practice run. So let's say that you think that you can live on, I don't know, $50,000. Well, divide that times 12 and look at it. If it's $3,500, whatever the number is that you feel comfortable, I think that a lot of us want to take in consideration that we're going to spend a lot more, especially with those ghost expenses, than we think. But it's a good practice run. Just give yourself a number. I'm going to do even ones here. Let's say $3,000, and just give yourself a month of cutting down on alcohol, say, or sweets, ice creams, and things like that, and see how you and your family feel. This is a test run, and the beauty of this is that it can actually be changed at any time. You can add or subtract it. It's not like you have to do this. So while you have the option of deliberately playing and experimenting with it, utilize that, because if the time ever comes and you're forced to, you may not like what you get. But this also may open up your eyes as to, I don't want to live on $3,000 a month. So what this is going to do is this is going to give you an actual this is going to give you an actual real number of how it is you want to design your life. How does any of us know unless we actually fully experience it, okay? So this brings you into the rubber, where the rubber meets the road, and you're really going to get into it. And I think that you're going to learn a lot about yourself and what it is that you want for your future. Tip number 5 is just do it, man. You got to get in here. You've got to do this, especially if a recession is going to hit here. Like I said, regardless, you guys, if you're not willing to do this work and you're stuck, it's because you want to be stuck. I'm giving you guys a tool and some ideas here today to get you guys out of the rut and into a place, a happier place, but only you can make that decision. So it's up to you to come out and try to change your life. We don't have to live the way the system tells us to. In fact, in my view, my philosophy is the system is fucked up, and we're going to see some ugly shit if this recession comes, and that's when the shit fucking shines. So you want to go through all the mess and you want to live that life, fine. If you want to get out of it, you're going to have to take this responsibility, man, and you're going to have to do the time. Everything takes fucking work. I've worked my ass off, and that's the point of this show, is that I'm hoping that these things can make life a lot easier for you guys. So if you like this sort of thing, and you give me a thumbs up, a middle finger, or thumbs down, check me out on Facebook. Everything's at Up and In It. There's the private Facebook book, ask to join, and I will approve you. There's Instagram, where I post almost every single day to give you guys an idea of what an alternative lifestyle design looks like. There's YouTube, of course. There's also the podcasts. And as I always say, carry the fire, human up, don't lose your muchness, live it, love it, own it, and bone it.